Hello everybody, how's it going? Eamon here, hope you're all doing well out there guys. Back today with another video guys, and today we're just back with an updated video of my settings and my graphics and how I actually have Omsi the way it is these days. It was asked for in the comments in the last video what my graphical settings are and my options and stuff, so I'm going to go through them again with you guys to show you how my game runs and the settings I have and overall just my whole kind of setup on the computer to have Omsi the way it is. So today we will start with my Omsi 2 anti-aliasing because this is important to make Omsi look a bit better. So if you have an Nvidia graphics card, then you can actually go into your Nvidia control panel and enable anti-aliasing on Omsi 2. So I'll show you how you do that. So if you go down like here to your arrow, and then you have your little Nvidia GeForce game thing, you right click on that and you have the GeForce experience or the control panel. If you click into the control panel, it'll bring you to this menu here, the Nvidia control panel. Now this is all online anywhere. If you want to Google it and just Google Omsi 2 anti-aliasing, it will bring you to a Steam chat of a guy telling you what to do for this, but I'll show you guys anyway now. So you have to manage your 3D settings here. And then it says, I would like to use the following 3D settings for the global, for everything, or for program settings. Do click into program settings, and then it will find if you then in the drop down menu it will find all the exe files that you're looking for, and Omsi should be there on that. So as you can see here, Omsi 2 Steam Edition.exe. If you can, if it's not there, you can add. So you can, if you add, then it will come and it'll look. You can browse on your computer to find it. So you might have it on a different drive or on a different just not on your Windows C drive. So these are my settings for anti-aliasing to make my game look better. What it does is it takes all the crinkly edges off the game. So when you're in the game normally, it has that really kind of bad rough edges and stuff like that. This basically just smooths it out, and it makes it look really good. Now I am running, I'll show you now in my GeForce experience. I'm running an Nvidia GeForce RTX 370, and I'm also on the CPU of an i7-10700KF at 3.80 gigahertz a second. So I have 32 gigabytes of RAM also, and I'm only on a 1080 screen, 60 gigahertz. So that's how I can have my anti-aliasing the way it is, because I'm running on a decent processor, an i7-10700KF at 3.80 gigahertz second. So that's why I have my settings like this. My filtering is at 16, but if you have a lower, I believe I don't know how it works completely. You have to kind of mess around with it, because I have a good processor. I use this 16, it just affects the filtering, affects the crispiness of textures, so it makes it more smooth. Anti-aliasing mode, if you override any application with this setting, so you override anything, so with Omsi 2 Steam, override anything, it will basically, it won't let the game do what it usually does. And then the setting then is by 4. I use this just to, I could have by 8, but sometimes when I have by 8 I get some strange feelings, and some strange texture, so I used to have a 16 by 8, but because I mess around with my settings sometimes, depending on the map I'm using, I try and use Omsi as best as I can, maximize it as best as I can to be more realistic and to be more, more parked cars on the road and more AI traffic and more buses. So if I had that by 8 with the options I use, it probably wouldn't work so well, So that's why I use it by 4, and it seems to work okay for me now. It makes my game look cleaner, So that's my 3D settings for Omsi 2. So we're going to jump in now to my options, and I will show you how basically my game starts up. So I have Omsi 2, Bus Company Simulator, Control Center Simulator, Navigation, and the Power Toolkit. So these are the options I have when I'm launching Omsi. I always just launch Omsi 2. I haven't played BCS in a long time, so I haven't actually done that with that in a long time. So when I launch Omsi 2, I a lot of stuff happens. The navigation opens, the auxiliary tool opens as well. I don't know who if people have the auxiliary tool. It's a tool that it's a really kind of handy tool to have if you need to like change stuff within the game, like your bus repaint. So the last map I played was obviously Boddingham. So the auxiliary tool is up here on the right. That gives you loads of options for announcers, AI. You can change all that within this menu if you need to. Your HUD. So your HUD is the bus stop request. All these kind of different things, which is great because I have them over here on the top left. Which is really good. So it's handy to have that. Then the weather. I don't have the weather set up. And then you can have then your bus color scheme. Some Omsi login, transparent tile bar, and then the dashboard camera turns with the steering wheel. That's probably my favorite thing about the auxiliary tool is that when you turn left, your head turns left with it. So it's really good. So yeah, so we'll just slide that up there for now. And then into the options then. The options. So my options haven't really changed that much overall. They've probably got a bit more. I've probably had a bit more added to them, like as in some part cars have gone up and stuff like that. So um, everyone did, I play with collisions on all the time. I know some maps you can't do that, but all the time I'm playing with collisions on. So even in a video where you think, whoa, he's playing with collisions off, I'm not. They're always on, they're always enabled. So if I go to my advanced, I have collisions between user vehicles and terrain, vehicles and pedestrians, AI vehicles, visible driver in your own bus, show tickets and selling passenger dialogue hints and autosave. For Pete, as soon as your bus stops, the game autosaves, and sometimes that might create just a little tiny freeze, and it might then it'll autosave. But if your game crashes, then so if you untick that and you stop at a bus stop, and you won't get that little freeze, that autosave. But if your game crashes, you can't go back then to where it crashed, So it's always better to have that enabled because you can just start off then when you reboot Omsi, you can start off again from where you actually left off. Um, Now, a little, I don't know whether it's a tip or not, but I'll give you some sort of like what the experience I had with the performance. Okay, now there's an option. There's two options here: reduce multi-threading. They ask you this if your OMSI will run more stable but with less performance. It's not a good idea to have that ticked. I don't believe anyway. Depending on your machine, then okay, it will run more stable, but it's not great, And then whole load map at the start. Um, this this option, some people like it, some people don't. Now I'll give you a kind of like an experience I had with it when Boddingham version 5 came out. There was no roadmap with it, So I went in and I created my own roadmap with an OMSI navigation and the OMSI editor. And when you load the whole roadmap, it loads all the tiles within the map. So this is automatically ticked when you do that. So when I went back into OMSI, then it was loading all 200 and something tiles. So it took a lot longer to load the game. But something, I felt my performance was better when the whole map was loaded at the start. I don't have the freezes of the new tiles loading, when I go onto a new tile because they're already loaded. Now, obviously, some buildings and obviously some models and textures have to come in, but all the tiles were already loaded. Now, people would say, oh, well, it'll take a lot of memory, and it does. But for me, I felt it was a better performance within Boddingham when I had the whole map loaded at the start. Now I'm going to try and configure and see if I can actually try this with other maps and see how the frame rates work and the performance works, just to see if it's better. For me in Boddingham it's better to have the whole map loaded at the start. Now I'm not saying go and do that, because it might make your game crash and it might make your performance terrible. But for me, I felt it was better. My last few videos, like the one with the Electroliner, the EW9, that hadn't got the whole map loaded at the start, and it performed not great, So, but my first few videos, I didn't know, but the whole map was loaded at the start. So, it's up to yourselves, guys. For me, it's not a bad option to have on and off if you need it, depending on the map and, of course, your computer and your memory. I do have the 4 GB patch installed. Sorry. I do use that, so because OMSI only takes 2 GB of RAM, you can get the 4 GB patch where it'll make it take more. It will use more RAM. So if you have like 32 gigs like I do, OMSI's not going to. It's pointless to have all that. Well, it's not pointless to have it, but for OMSI, it doesn't make any difference. Just the 4 GB patch, just to give you a little bit more memory, and you'll be running fine. So here's my graphics settings now. My target frame rate is 60. My neighbor tile count is 1. I don't think that really matters when you have the whole map loaded at the start. I'm not sure. Then you have the visibility, object visibility distance, so the distance, reflections, real-time reflections and economy. I haven't actually ever tried it on full yet. Economy works fine for me. I don't need to have like um, some crazy perfect reflections. So economy is perfect for me. I feel it runs fine. I don't have the sun glow effect because it annoys me. All the small details I have up to 4, because even less important objects can be turned off to improve performance. So if you have this down to 0, only very important objects, crossings, normal buildings, streetlights, etc. will be on. But if you have it up to 4, it's fine. Well, for me it is anyway. As I said, I like to have everything to the top. Then you have max map complexity, which is only objects near the main um, route. So um, then you have the rain reflections. You can have shadows, rain reflections, or humans visible. I've actually never ticked the human visible in rain reflections. I always have rain reflections on. Shadows I had on for a while, but sometimes the shadows are a bit strange. They don't actually look like shadows. They're like just black lines across the road or something, and I don't know where they're coming from sometimes. So, I don't have that ticked. But it does make your game perform less if you have it ticked. For me, rain reflections don't do that. Rain reflections actually make the game a lot better, especially running with the anti-aliasing, so the game looks really nice. The reflections and the puddles on the road and stuff. Um, my advanced graphics, my memory texture is 2560. In the default options, it's 480. So 2560 is the max memory texture for high res texture loads. I've never touched anything like on the forced reflection economy mode. I've never touched anything on this. So 16, 21, 9, 11, and then all my light maps and reflection maps and bump maps are all ticked as well. So for better performance, you could only use low res textures in the game if there's an option for it. You can use it, so it'll make the game perform better, but it will look worse. So it's up to yourself. The real time reflection texture size then is 512. Then my sounds, then the master volume varies. So like if it depends on I'm doing videos, I just know when I'm doing videos. Sometimes my sounds you can't hear me talk because the sound is so much, and depending on the bus. So it just like I never get it right the sound, so I just kind of I don't know what to do with it. And the stereo effect then is it basically sets the difference between the left and right, and then the max sound count. The max sound count is important for me because you can hear a lot more sounds within the map, and it creates more of an atmosphere. So I have it set at 292. I'm just going to zip that up to 300 just to have it. Okay. Just okay, 313, just to have it more sounds in the map. So if you're driving, the sounds of a cars going past you, the sounds of birds and stuff like that is better. It creates more of an atmosphere in the map and in the game, and you're not too bored really. It feels like it's a bit of life within the map. Um, so yeah, they're my sound ones. Then the AI traffic, which is probably the most important, which everyone's waiting on. you know, this is my AI traffic. My road traffic max count is 190. My road traffic factor is 56%. My park cars is 54, so it's kind of half. I would like that higher because I do like the challenge of playing with collisions on and driving around and kind of navigating through parked cars. Sometimes it's annoying when you're driving with an Omsi and collisions on because the AI don't behave well, and you actually have to either you're stuck at a junction because you can't go through the AI, or you're stuck, or your AI are hitting you, or you're hitting a parked car, which you're like, oh, I didn't see that, or you're hitting a pole or something. Um, the road, the max human count is 211, and then the 113% of passengers at the station. So that means how many people, are at the station. So there cannot be more passengers than the value of max humans at all stations in the visible area. So that means set the passenger density at bus stops and number of passengers and pedestrians. Sometimes maps will come with reduced AI lists, so it means that you'll have an AI list that won't take as much memory and won't affect the performance as much. So take London for example. if you are London and you had a reduced AI list, you would take all the NRMs out because they take a lot of memory, you know. So if you clicked on this, then you would have less memory performance buses within your map, and it would maybe run a bit more stable. The schedule priority is basically all of the number of scheduled AI routes. So number one, which is down here, would only be the most important routes, you know, and then four would include trains, sometimes airplanes, etc. You know, so I always have that set to four because I always want more in my game, you know. Um, and then the scheduled buses, then I have a 246. It's probably a bit much, to be honest, but I do like to see buses on the map. I do like to see them floating around and passing me by, you know. So that's at 246. Now that's probably high because I'll give you an example. Yesterday I was trying to do a video with the Masterbus 18-meter Fusion, and I wanted to have a snowy day in Boatingham with these options, and I got white textures, you know, and it didn't perform so well. So that's why sometimes my options can be too high. So you could take this is more of a higher end options, I'd say, than actually, like, you know, normal PC options. So yeah, so guys, that's my options. There was something else I wanted to say, but I forget what that is now. Anti-aliasing, auxiliary tool, options, graphics. I'm still driving with my Driving Force GT. That's still here. That's what I'm driving. And my add-ons, then I don't have any because it doesn't really need to do one. I don't want the game controller coming because it takes forever to load. I will just show something now if I can. Let's see. Um, videos. OneDrive F temp. When I'm recording Omsi, I record on a different drive um than usual than what I usually would do. So um my Windows is on C, Omsi is installed on my C drive, so but I record onto my F drive. Um so guys, yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's my Omsi in a nutshell. There was something else, but I forget what it is now. If it comes back to me, then I'll remember it. But there's nothing really else that that I can think of um that I need to show you guys. I'm not too sure. Um, yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? If there's anything else, guys, just let me know, and I'll try and do it in the next video before I actually drive. And we can go from there. But there was something, I don't know, I forget what it was. So yeah, so guys, thank you. Hopefully this will be helpful to you. What I'll do is, some people are saying that they don't like MediaFire. So what I'll do is I'll upload my options and put a new link in my description to my Google Drive account, a Google Drive link rather than the MediaFire link, because people are saying sometimes they get viruses from it. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it as always. Thank you. Have a good week. It's Monday the 15th of April and it's 10 a.m. Have a good week, guys, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Okay, bye bye.